In my last video, I talked a little bit about using the editor for Classin and made a recommendation of using local files as much as possible rather than accessing your files through the Classin viewer, because then you can view but you cannot edit, and so as a teacher that's very limiting to making a presentation to your students. The main recommendation I would make, considering those limitations, is to use the screen sharing function liberally. So keep your Classin file full of material for yourself to reference while you're teaching, just to kind of keep on track, the same way you would use a PPT to keep yourself on track while you're delivering a speech. For myself, I'm not able to use the screen sharing function of Classin. It crashes my computer every single time. Others have reported they do not have that difficulty, however. They're able to use the screen sharing just fine. When you are ready to do your screen sharing, there are two ways to do it. You can go to desktop sharing, which would be this icon right here. And that is a limited way to share. Or you can do bidirectional desktop sharing. Bidirectional desktop sharing is a more advanced mode. And that's the icon right here. With bidirectional desktop sharing, you're able to share your entire desktop. With the first mode, which is kind of teacher only, students will only see a portion of your desktop. And usually that's not a good situation, just to show a portion at a time. You want to show them the whole screen most of the time. So that way what you see is what you get, what you see is what your students get. So after going to bidirectional, you can choose teacher only, which means your students are only watching, or you can go all students, and that will allow your students to take control. So they will be able to interact with a document that you have open, for example. In my last video, I talked a little bit about preparing pictures on top of existing pictures so that you can resize content. That is one thing that it's really useful if your co-teacher can do that sometimes while you're in the process of live teaching, because your co-teacher does have control of the blackboard as well. So that means while you're talking, they can be writing. While you're talking, they can be finding pictures. They can be moving them around. They can be doing something like, for example, they could open the widget for... now, I'm not teaching a live class right now, so I still don't have access to all of my widgets, but there's one widget that'll open up a web browser window, and then if you wanted to, you could Google something. all of that is stuff that your co-teacher can be doing at the same time that you're lecturing. So even if you are not actively teaching, you can be co-teaching. Always keep that in mind. You have access to all the same resources as the teacher. You can be giving students awards. You can be taking awards away. And I want everybody to keep in mind that remember that you are the other teacher. Don't become a student. Don't just go, and start to listen and start to watch passively. I'm watching the other teacher. No, do not watch the other teacher. You are not a student. You should be watching the other students. You should be watching the lesson, but you should constantly be asking yourself, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? How can I be helpful? Can I be searching the internet for some pictures to help define what the other teacher is talking about? Should I be adding some text to the blackboard to help them out? Or should I be paying attention to the students because I am able to notice when they raise their hand and the other teacher is, maybe they're a little bit too busy. So if I notice that they're starting to finish one section of the lesson and go to the next part of the lesson, I can say, hold on. A student had a question, right? You can help the other teacher to be more aware. You can help them to be more active. 2 brains is always better than 1. But if one of those brains is falling asleep and isn't doing anything, then it's not helping very much. Try to be as helpful as possible when you're co-teaching. Remember, you have access to all of the resources that the other teacher has access to. That's one of the things that's kind of nice about Classin.